Hey, what's up guys, I'm Victorian and welcome to Victoria 3, as we're going to be starting a new series today as Japan, which easily won the patron poll, got 58% of the vote. The second place was Two Sicilies. That would have been a military focused campaign, and they got, I think, exactly a third of the vote. And then a Ottoman campaign where we would have tried to restore them back to greatness, I think only got a couple votes. And then a Dutch campaign, which would have been focused on colonization, didn't get a single vote, surprisingly. So yeah, let's go and hop into this. We're going to do the sandbox mode. We don't need an objective to guide us. We know what we want to do here. So Japan's a pretty interesting country. I have played as them, and they're pretty fun. They're significantly different from the United States, which is who we played as for our previous campaign. So this is the settings. I believe everything should be on default. You can go ahead and do that just to make sure. And let's go and jump on into it. And we'll dip around our realm. After we do a few things, let's go and pick some technology to research first. You notice that we start out with a lot less of the tech tree research than the United States did, as you'd expect for Japan. So I don't really need any of the production techs just yet. I'd like to get the lathe eventually, which means we'll have to get the cotton gin. Military is not going to be a huge focus here early on in the game. Frankly, we're way behind any of the European powers. Really, there's not any territory that we'd want to conquer at the moment, and we have other concerns here as Japan. So military is probably not going to be a huge focus right now. It's something that we'll try and get through a bit later before we go to war with the Europeans, which will be required. So we're going to be focusing on the society tech tree early on here, and a lot of these would be pretty useful for us, not stock exchange, because we don't have any trade as Japan here in the beginning. Currency standards, that would be useful a little bit later on. Colonization, that's something you might want to get early so that you can start colonizing up in the north. That is a decentralized country, so we can colonize them. However, I have found that it's very difficult to get your colonial affairs as Japan, or it can be difficult to get that passed. So we're not going to get that first either. This is great for authority. That's going to be a key difference here, guys, from the USA campaign, is that we're going to have a lot more authority. If you guys recall, if you watched that series, we didn't have a lot of authority throughout that series, because we were playing as a democratic country that was very liberalized, and the laws that we were enacting typically reduced our authority rather than increased it. So yeah, we will have a very different campaign when it comes to the authority, because we're going to have a lot of it in this one. You can see we already start out with quite a bit. So I think the one that makes the most sense for us to get is academia, so that we can get a university, guys, because we are researching incredibly slow here at the base level. So we're going to want to speed that up, and also you'll see that our literacy rate is pretty garbage as well. So yeah, let's go ahead and get this. I think this is the first one that makes the most sense for us to get here. It's a level 1, so we can get it in less than 2 years, which is, for a level 1 tech, pretty slow. So that's another reason why we need to get those universities. So before we start up with the construction, I like to go through our country and just see what our current situation is. So looking at our government, we are underneath the shogun. Our current shogun is Inari, and he has the arrogant, expensive taste, and diplomat traits. So he's going to get us a bit more influence, but he's also reducing our legitimacy, unfortunately. Now this is something that I don't think we had access to as the United States, is being able to grant command, make our ruler a general. So that's one option that we have here as Japan, because we're a monarchy, and he wouldn't really make a great commander anyways, nor do we need a commander, but I did want to point that out since we didn't have that in the USA campaign. He's currently 62 years old, and his heir apparent is Ieyasu, and they are of the Tokugawa, and he's meticulous and pious, so overall he's better than his father. We're sitting at 80 legitimacy. This is something that's been changed since the last series. We had a patch, I think it was the 1.1 patch, that changed up the legitimacy mechanic. So now it's much more important that you keep higher legitimacy. Before it was kind of irrelevant. Basically all that it really truly affected that was important is the time it took to pass laws, to get laws enacted. So if you had lower legitimacy, it would just take you longer. There was a few other things that it affected, but overall it was pretty minor. Well, now it's far more significant. So if you get it all the way up to between 90 and 100 and you have the righteous government, first of all, it's a huge decrease of enactment time. That's 50%. And you're also going to get a plus 25% loyalists from standard of living increases. So very, very helpful. And we'll also get loyalists just based on what our legitimacy is. So when we hover over this one, because we get the same thing here, you can see that every month we're getting 14.2 thousand additional loyalists. So this is pretty helpful to make sure that you maintain your legitimacy at 75 or higher, preferably all the way here at 90. So we do not get that enactment time bonus here at the legitimate government. And then once you go into contested, so under 75, you start getting penalties, as you can see here. So you'll get more radicals. You're going to reduce the interest group approval for all interest groups. And then also, you'll see we cannot enact laws if it gets this low where you're an illegitimate government. So this is probably the most significant change here in this patch. Let's take a look and see if we want to reform our government. If we took out the samurai, we'd be able to get to the righteous government, which is what we want to do. However, before we do that, because I think we will eventually do that, we could also add the Buddhist monks. So you'll notice that these are all named differently for Japan. They were as the USA, and they have some different mechanics. We'll take a look at those here in a minute. Before we remove the samurai, which is our military interest group, before we remove them, we'll probably want to take a look and see if there's any laws that we might want to pass while we have them in our government. But we will want to remove them so we can get to the righteous government. Because basically the way that the legitimacy is calculated has been changed as well. So you can see that there's a government ideology penalty. So we're getting this penalty here because our interest groups in government, their ideologies are conflicting. So that's a pretty big penalty right there, negative 24. And then also there's still the size of government. That was taken out in 1.1, but then re-added in 1.2 because it was something you could easily exploit. So therefore they re-added it so that the size of government does affect it, and we're losing 20 because of that as well. So it would make sense to move the Buddhist monks in there so you can get the righteous as well and maybe have some more laws opened up. We'll take a look if there's anything we actually want from them before we do that. But yeah, let's go and exit this here. Let's go into the samurai and see if there's any laws that we'd want to pass while they are currently in government. Their leader, Tanakuni, is a traditionalist, so nothing useful here. We definitely want to make use of this to change over to professional army, so we need to do that. That would be helpful, but probably not going to be able to do it. Not seeing anything here. Maybe go to National Guard, I suppose. I could see moving to that. And this is their unique one here as Japan. Bakufu. Basically, this just makes them very supportive of our government. They're very happy with us because we have all those laws right now. Alright, so we do want to make use of them. Let's go ahead and start passing a law now, here at the start, if we can. So we don't want to change out of this one right now. Yeah, that's not really a priority. I think we will move out of peasant levies and go to professional army. So peasant levies, obviously it's not a great one with that morale loss. And frankly, I would prefer to rely on barracks over conscription centers. As the USA, we relied a lot on conscription, didn't have a huge standing army for the majority of the campaign, and this one is going to be a very different situation. I'd like to rely on the barracks and the standing army, and this would increase the samurai strength rather than the shogun strength, the landowners, which we need to reduce their strength a bit, and I'll talk about that here when we look at our journal entries. So yeah, we want to get out of this one. And so I think we're going to go ahead and switch over. This might be the first thing we do. This would radicalize the trade unions, but we don't care about that. They're marginalized and not a problem. The shogun obviously isn't going to support this because it's reducing his power. So yeah, this is going to be more difficult to pass, but it would please the samurai, the bourgeoisie, and the industrialists, as well as the peasants. So yeah, I think that might be the first thing we switch over to. We could also do National Guard since we have no home affairs. However, we're going to need to get some more bureaucracy before we work on that. Not as much opposition here. It's really just the intelligentsia that oppose it, but also not as much support either. Looking at the last option here, we can move to dedicated police force. Another thing we're going to want to do for reducing the shogun's power. And this here would have the same effect, a -5 to the shogun. Okay. I think we're going to start with the professional army, guys. So I'm going to switch over to this just because it's such a huge bonus here, the 25% for the peasant levies. So we're going to start with professional army. And that's also one that we need to have the, we got to have the samurai in our government for. This is our current institutions. All we have is law enforcement. I don't think we're going to want to move any further just yet. First of all, the bonuses here aren't great. It's just increasing the shogun's power. And then, we're not really having any problems with turmoil right now. So I don't see any reason to invest in that right now. All right, so that's our current government. So let's go and take a look at our journal. So no journal entries at the moment. But the key one that we need to do is honorable restoration. In order to do this, the shogun cannot be part of the government. That's just to get it up here. That's not even to complete it. This is kind of a difficult one to do. And also, once you do everything that it requires, such as kicking the shogun out of government and then making them so they're no longer powerful, so that's something that's going to take a while to do. You see they have like 50-something% of the clout in our country right now, so it's going to take some time to do. But then after you do it, you have to keep those, those conditions in place for 10 years. So it takes a while, but the things you get after this are really important. So something we're going to want to eventually work on. We'll be slowly working on reducing the shogun's power. And then we have a decision here that also can't be done until the honorable restoration is completed. And once you complete this, this is going to unlock a bunch of journal entries. So that's what we're going to be working on, guys. That's the reason why we really want to start reducing the shogun's power. So next, let's go and take a look at our population. So we can see exactly what all these parameters are here as we start. And so you'll notice a nice little change here with the UI. You can now say show more and see all this. So you don't have to hover over them, where it's just before, it only show you the top ones. Now you can see them all. So peasants are 84.5% of our population, 26.2 million. Labor 6.39%, clergy 2.91%, aristocrats 1.94%, and so on. But you notice we do not have a lot of like machinists or even bureaucrats. Even the farmers are a pretty small number here overall. So very much a peasant society. The political strength is very much in the hands of the aristocrats and the clergy, but the peasants have a lot of influence too, just because the sheer number of them. We are not a very diverse society culturally. We're very much Japanese at 99.9% of all our people. Religion, 75.3% are Buddhists. The specific tradition or school is Mahayana. And then Shinto is 24.6% of our people. I don't think there's anything else under here. We are not very diverse religiously or culturally, just two main religions here and the one culture. All right, so that's our current population. Now we're going to just swing through our territory here. This is all the decentralized territory that we could colonize. We're probably not going to be able to, guys. I will try to get it passed, perhaps, if we have the time. More than likely, we're not going to be able to do it. And what I think is better is just allowing the Russians to do it, because they do it so quickly anyways. Just let them colonize both of these and then fight them and take over both of them at the same time that you're forcing them to recognize you. So basically you get all three of them because we are an unrecognized major power. I don't want to discuss mechanics too much in this playthrough. If you're looking for a beginner guide, that USA campaign, that was how it was designed to teach new players how to play the game. That is not going to be the purpose of this one. So I'm going to try and avoid talking too much about mechanics, but this is one that we didn't have in the USA campaign. So we are an unrecognized country. That does mean that it's going to result in us not being able to do certain things. They'll get different war goals, diplomatic plays that they can do against us because we're unrecognized. And also we have a hit to our prestige, and we can't become a great power as long as because we have a whole different system here. So we're an unrecognized major power rather than just a straight major power. And there are no unrecognized great powers. So that's actually a diplomatic play that we'll be able to do where we can force them to recognize us. And you can only do that against certain countries. I'm not sure exactly how that breaks down because I've been able to do it against Mexico before, and they weren't a great power. So I don't think they have to be a great power. But I don't think you could do it just against any recognized power either. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe if it's any recognized power, then you can force them to recognize you. I'm not entirely sure how that works. But yeah, I've done it against Mexico before. So yeah, we have a lot of options for becoming a recognized power, but not something that we're going to do here early on. So let's go and just look, do the zoomed in view of our realm, look at everything before we start the industrialization process. So you can see how things look. There's Edo, which is the future Tokyo. That will be our capital later in the game. Our current capital is Kyoto. Well, that's right here. And then we're going to take a look at what we all have. I suppose this is the most southern part of our country. Just show what we all have when it comes to resources. And this will be the last thing that we do here before we actually finally start playing. So this is quite different from our resource situation as the United States. So we have things that we didn't have access to as the USA in the beginning. So we have tea, we have tobacco. You'll also see that we have access to silk and dyes. There's some of that silk there. While also having access to some of the things that USA did have. You know, rice, tobacco, cotton. We have generally most of the resources we need for the early and mid game. Just about everything, actually. And that is because we cannot trade at all as Japan, which we didn't really look at our laws other than what we wanted to change. So we'll go dip in there real quick after we finish looking at our country, just showing what we currently have here. So there's those silk plantations. Yeah, we have access to pretty much everything we need, which again is important because we are isolationist. We do not have the ability to even set up trade routes. That's really what makes Japan significantly different than any other country in the game. I don't know if anybody else starts out isolationist. So this is all of our laws currently. You know, we have monarchy. We have the hereditary bureaucrats. So this is huge because we're not getting the taxation capacity bonus that we could be getting from appointed bureaucrats. We're not getting that 15% bureaucracy institution cost multiplier. Instead, we're getting a bureaucracy population cost multiplier, which is pretty important here because of how many people we have. So we have 31 million people here in Japan. So we'll compare that to the United States here in a minute, what they started with. But this is also important because it increases the shogun's power. So we're going to want to change out of this eventually. Yeah, as the United States, we started with, 15.7 million people here. So we have practically double the people that we had in our previous campaign. So yeah, we're going to want to change out of that eventually. Obviously, at this moment, we can't. The economic system here, traditionalism. So this is huge. Negative 25% taxation capacity. So that's pretty negative overall, but we do get another reduction in bureaucracy population cost multiplier. And again, these are all important because of that high population we have. That's the only reason why we have bureaucracy right now, even available. So we're definitely going to want to change out of this because the main issue with this economic system is that the investment pool is completely useless. Yeah, we can't use it at all. We don't have access to it. And we can also only subsidize infrastructure and trade centers. So overall, we're definitely going to want to change out of this once we're able to. It's not an option just yet. Here's the important trade policy, isolationism, and you'll see that it disables the trade routes. Also reduces our maximum declared interest and reduces our technology spread. So we're not going to get as much tech spread because we don't let foreigners into our country, or we try to avoid it. But it does increase our authority by 50%. And then it also increases to taxation capacity, which that's very helpful because that's a huge problem here as Japan. We have land-based taxation, so not getting a ton of taxes from that. We've already seen we don't have the colonial affairs. And yeah, everything else, we still have serfdom We got censorship here, which is another thing reducing our technology spread. But it does give us more authority, and it makes our suppression and our bolstering of interest groups more powerful. So pretty helpful. So yeah, let's go ahead and start with, since we just talked about it, let's go ahead and start suppressing and bolstering and all that kind of good stuff. So we're going to start out by suppressing the intelligentsia. Now there's actually a journal entry here, Path to Liberalism, where if we are bolstering and we have them in our government, any interest group that has liberal, radical, or market liberal, then we'll get access to this journal entry. So we could do that, bring them into our government, though it would probably affect our legitimacy, but we could bolster them instead. However, we are not going to be doing the same campaign that we did last time, where it was very focused on both industrializing while also being very progressive. We had the intelligentsia in power for the majority of the campaign. We will not be doing that in this one. In this one, we actually want the intelligentsia to be weakened because we're going to try and keep some aspects of our conservative government. We're going to try and keep a monarchy in place. We're going to try and keep our distribution of power the same while also industrializing. So we're going to try and stay conservative while industrializing. I think it'll be an interesting campaign that fits along with what Japan historically did. So yeah, we're not going to support them. We're going to actually suppress them. And as far as who we want to bolstering the shogun would be helpful right now for getting our legitimacy up. But yeah, this is a long-term goal of weakening them, so I don't think that would be a wise move. I don't think we're going to bolster anybody at this moment, guys. Yeah, I don't think it makes much sense to use our authority for that. There's a lot of other things we can use it for. So let's go and start with construction. You notice we do not have a lot of construction ability right now, so we need to change over to the iron frame buildings. The problem is that we don't have access to the iron and tools that we need. So that's what we're going to start with. Let's just take a look at our economy and see what other prices we might need to make adjustments to. We should probably let this play like a week, just to make sure it all updates. Yeah, so let's go and turn this up to speed 5, let it get through a week here. We'll also get all of our little bonuses with who's all happy with us. So let's go and hop back into our market. You'll notice that we do have a very high cost for opium, which we can't trade for, nor do we have it. It doesn't matter anyway. It's just a few pops that aren't Japanese. It's the Chinese pops that we have in our country that are consuming that. And then furniture is a little bit expensive, as is the clothes, but not too bad. Overall, our prices are fairly balanced at the moment, or at least here at the top end. At the bottom end, we need to make use of that sugar. We have a very low cost for tea and dye, grain. So yeah, we're going to want to make use of all this. So let's go and start out by building more construction sectors, because frankly, we just don't have enough, and we have a little bit of money to kind of play around with, not a ton. This is what we're going to do. Each construction sector isn't really worth much right now until we switch this over. So let's just go ahead and go with, we're just going to increase this by 1 actually for right now. Yeah, because these just aren't worth very much until we change these over. So with the iron, let's do that first. Yeah, we don't have any iron mines. So we're actually going to be focusing on this location for our iron mines just because it has the highest capacity. We didn't look at the state bonuses, the state traits. I think this is the only one. The shipyards building throughput for the Sato Inland Sea. There might be one more that I'm forgetting about. There's discoverable resources. They have gold up here in the north, which will be really helpful for us. Yeah, that's it, guys. We don't have access to any other state traits, just the one over here. So basically, we can kind of build wherever we want. We will be focusing our states on specific things, though. So they'll be working on iron here. So let's go and get an iron mine. We'll probably do 2 of these. I think is what we're going to start with. And that's all of our construction for now. I did want to take a look at our alerts here. So you notice that we have inefficient taxation capacity. When we hover over this here, you'll see that our unrealized taxes is 61.4 thousand. That's because of our really low taxation capacity. But look at these numbers, guys. This is not something that you fix real quick by just building a few administrative centers. It's just not possible to fix it. And you don't want to fix it. Because I have found, I found this out the hard way actually, that it is absolutely not worth working on that. What ends up happening is that the cost of the administrative centers are actually more expensive than the money you earn from the unrealized taxes. So it is not beneficial. And you know what, we can actually get another, yeah, let's go and get one more of these. We're going to do this here in Kanto, where our capital is. So we'll do that one. You know, let's make sure we tick that up to the top. I should have already done that. And focus on that. Yeah, we can build a bit more. But yeah, basically we do not want to try and fix this taxation capacity because it's our laws. Our laws are what's reducing it and making taxation capacity so low. So it's not something we can fix right now. We'll go broke if we attempt to. So we got an event here. Shogun intervenes in the political process. All right, so this is a nice event that you can have here. And it says any country that has like a powerful monarchy, and just allows you to get the 20% enactment success chance, and we'll just lose interest group approval, which we don't really care if they don't approve of us. Yeah, they already don't approve of us. So yeah, this will give us that 20% chance and increasing up to 28%. It's not bad. So yeah, we're not going to be fixing this situation, the taxation capacity problem. We won't be fixing that anytime soon. And so once we get the iron constructed, then we'll work on tools. And we do have a bit more that we can do here. I'm hesitant to increase these too much because then we'd have to delete them and then we lose those jobs. And we'll have to delete them once we go to the iron frame buildings here. Now I don't know if there's any demand for iron right now, so that might not be working out well for them. We'll take a look at that actually. Yeah, there's no demand for iron at the moment. And there is a demand for tools. Okay, so the tools were supposed to be first. My bad, guys. So let's go ahead and get these constructed. So we're going to build this in our current capital. And I should have built this first before we did the iron. And we got another event. Public address goes awry. What was meant as a routine speech about the merits of professional army by Tadakuni Mizuno has quickly devolved into a public relations disaster for the samurai. So we do not want to lose too much of the enactment success chance that we just got. So we're going to do this one here, and it'll unfortunately hurt the samurai for 5 years. Yeah, that's a real shame. Yeah, we're just going to have to do it, guys. Because I would really like to be able to get this passed here. Just make sure there's no issues here. Obviously, the shortage with the tools is going to be a problem. All right, so this is a duel between the leader of the shogun and the leader of the bourgeoisie. All right, I could see potentially allowing these two to fight. Yeah, let's let them fight. All right, I don't know which one that was. That was the bourgeoisie. Not surprising that the samurai won there. Or I guess that was the shogun. The shogun's guy that won. I was actually hoping that the leader of the shogunate would die. We passed professional army. Despite that low chance, we got quite lucky here. All right, so we got that done. And those are the effects there. So let's go ahead and start working on the next law. And I did forget to make use of our authority, so we need to do that, guys. Because while we want to keep the 25% enactment time here, there's no reason we can't utilize some of that for some different decrees. So the next one we're going to do is probably get rid of the local police force, switch over to the dedicated police force, though this might radicalize them. It's not too bad, because they were actually pleased with us when we started. So we'll attempt this, and there's not really a whole lot else to do here other than the National Guard. Yeah, I think it would be better to instead do this one. So I'm going to start with that, see if we can't get it passed, and we need to make use of our decrees. I did forget about doing this. I mean, honestly, I forgot to make use of our authority period here, which is a big part of playing as Japan. So we need to make use of it for some consumption taxes so we can get more money and then I can do more construction. Unfortunately, we cannot increase the taxes to high taxes because this now affects legitimacy. And we'll see that our legitimacy will eventually drop down to the 70s as the shogun becomes less powerful. And so this would result in it going below 75, and then we'll start getting those issues. So yeah, we're not going to be able to do it this way. Instead, we're going to be using our authority for consumption taxes. So we're going to go with the services for sure, because that'll get us the most money. And then let's go with a sin tax on liquor. And do we want to do another one? You're not making much from these guys. It's probably really not worth the authority at the moment until we step up production for these. So yeah, I don't think we're going to do any further. We can go ahead and get another construction sector building. Let's go with, we'll do one more in our current capital here. And I should have ticked that up to the top, so let's go and do that so we can get it started. And in fact, we could probably do, I'm trying not to get too much because remember we are switching over to this here. And so we need to be careful, because then we'll have to delete them. So let's just go with that one for now. And decrease. I'm never going to do this, guys. Let's go ahead and do it. So yeah, we could probably do one, maybe two of these. If you did two, it would reduce the enactment time some, but I think that'd be okay. So yeah, we'll do two of them for right now. So we could promote social mobility to get higher education access and qualifications, such as here in the capital. However, I think we're going to actually encourage the manufacturing industry. Well, we'll do it in both of these locations then. All right, so that's where we'll encourage our manufacturing industry, just to give them a little bit of a throughput bonus. And we will not be going into the negative and using debt to construct. I don't personally like doing that, though it is highly effective. I mentioned this in the USA campaign. Just because I don't do it does not mean that it's not effective or not a good method. Absolutely is. It is very beneficial. Let's just wait till this gets done and then we'll just switch over the construction zone. So we're going to do that now. Over to iron frame buildings. This is going to result in tools and iron being incredibly expensive, but that's okay. We're already working on the iron here. But you can see that gets the construction up by quite a bit more, so much so that we probably will be in the negative a little bit, but we have a gold reserve of 1.94 million, so I don't think it's going to be a problem, guys. All right, so we got the iron being worked on. Let's go ahead and we need more tools, so let's go and do that. Even with that one tooling workshop, that's not going to be enough. All right, so iron and tools are both incredibly expensive. That's costing us a lot of money here, but that's okay. Dissenters break ranks, and you know, we're not going to read all these here because these are all the same that we've seen as the United States, so you guys can read them if you want. They're all the same, and if you played Victoria 3 for 100, 200 something hours already, some of you guys probably already got 500 hours into the game, then yeah, it's kind of gets boring seeing the same thing over and over again. They need a lot more events, honestly. But yeah, we can get the 15% enactment success chance reduction, and then also hurting the samurai further. Or we can use this one so it's not as bad, but then we gotta pay $2,400 in government expenses for 2 years. We're just gonna have to do this one and probably just cancel this for now, guys, because yeah, we're just not gonna get it done. We'll come back to it later. It's fine. Now that does mean we could make use of our authority, I suppose, but we'll keep it as is, guys, so we don't have to be constantly canceling decrees. We need to do a couple things here. First of all, let's go and take a look at our production methods and just see if there's anything here that we could change that might help us. Probably not. Typically they start with the best ones. We don't really need services right now, so we don't have to switch any of these over. We could change over to the free churches, so we'll have clerks instead of clergymen. I suppose it would replace some of the clergy with clerks, but I don't think that would be that beneficial because the clerks would be supporting the bourgeoisie. So yeah, I don't think we should do that. We can also go to a secular administration, have bureaucrats instead of clergymen, but they would support the intelligentsia, so obviously not one we want to do either. So you notice the wheat farms aren't making any money. I think these are all located over here where we have a shortage of population. And so most of these buildings here, yeah, they're not really able to do anything. All right, so we're probably going to want to get rid of the majority of these. Yeah, you can see they don't have any employees. And plus, we're going to get those gold fields over here eventually. And so let's just go and get rid of all of these. We're going to get rid of the barracks. Let's get rid of the logging camps. I know that we're going to need a lot of these resources, but they don't have any employees, guys. So let's just get rid of all of everything they have here. Because, yeah, they have an insignificant number of peasants and unemployed. And just not enough people over there. In fact, we might have to use a decree to get more people to move over there once we get those gold fields. So because that was the only wheat farms we have, we don't have to deal with those. The rice farms, we're going to make sure we get that fruit and sugar in all of them. We don't have the soil enriching farming just yet. We can go over to butchering tools once we get some actual tools. Get us some more meat. See if there's anything else available. Logging camps. Could go over to sawmills again once we have tools. And we might want to take a look at what our hardwood production currently is. We're actually going to change these ones up. Yeah, we'll do it that way. And we'll see if we need to make any other adjustments there. With the fishing trawlers, yeah, we could definitely change over to these. Get more fish will require a bit more clippers, but the prices shouldn't be too high there. They should be able to still make a profit. Also, we have a different types of subsistence farm here. So this is something that you won't really see much in the game. There's only a few places around the world that have these, mostly in Africa and the Middle East. I think there's just a couple here in Asia. There's none in North America. But basically, they produce fruit instead of the grain. You can't, look at these numbers, by the way, because that's 1,746. This is 15, so it's not a fair comparison for what exactly they grant you. The point is that they do have a different amount of resources that they grant. I'm not sure the exact differences besides the grain and fruit, but there are some other differences on what they produce, but not something you normally deal with because very few locations actually have those. Over here, we're not going to want to change over to any of this at the moment, just not very important. But here, we do want to change this up because convoys are useless to us. In fact, we could probably get rid of a lot of our ports as long as they're not on islands. I suppose we'll keep all these here for now, even though we don't actually need them. We still have production that we have not made use of, so let me go and get something started here. So you can see the meat is pretty expensive. We also need to get something for the iron, so let's go and do that first. We'll do the iron mines here. We'll get one more for now. That won't be enough though, so let's go ahead and do 2. And then we'll work on the meat and get ourselves some more livestock ranches, though we actually could just use our tools for that. Let's go and get 2 more tooling workshops, since there's so many things we can do with the tooling workshops as far as our production methods go. So we are making use of all of our money here, and we're fine being in the negative for now as long as we have gold reserves. But as I stated earlier, we will not be going into debt, even if that is beneficial, doing debt spending to improve your economy. I personally just don't like playing that way. It just doesn't fit with my personality. That's just not the way I do things. So I personally just don't like doing it. Also, I like having a nice gold reserves, not being deep in debt whenever I go to war. So, when things get really expensive in war, I don't have to worry about, having problems with already being in debt, which I've seen a lot of other players do. They'll be like deep in debt, doing a lot of debt spending, and then they'll have a war pop up that they weren't expecting, and now they got to spend vast sums of money that they don't have. So that's an issue I don't typically run into. So this unlocks the private schools for the education system, which we won't be able to enact just yet. But most importantly, got us the university building. So we're going to want to get that constructing pretty much as soon as we're done with this, probably. So let's go and get another tech selected. Again, we're going to be focusing on the society techs. So let's go with, I almost want to go with the central archives just to get that 25 taxation capacity, because that's such a huge issue for us. But it is a level 2, so it would take forever for us to get. So instead, let's go with the mass communication because it's already going, so we can research a little bit faster and get more authority. I think that'd be helpful. So we're going to get that going. And yeah, we're going to need to get some universities before we go after central archives. Could do currency standards so that we can get to the banking or minting would be useful. And we could always do the colonization as well, just so that we could see if we could pass it. We can declare an interest. We can get 1. And let's do the Philippines. Though we're not going to be doing much when it comes to diplomacy or warfare with this campaign for some time. It's going to be a while. Going to be focusing on industrializing for now. Alright, so we just got that tooling workshop done. Still really short on the iron. It's pretty bad. Gold was discovered in North Borneo. And you see some of our prices are rising. Wood has increased. Luxury furniture, a bit more expensive, as are the luxury clothes. But overall, not too bad. But yeah, another reason why I don't like to do the debt spending is because this game's, you know, kind of easy. The AI struggles compared to a player. And so I often find that it's already to the point where it's like, you know, the 1870s, 1880s, you're already at the point where you're catching up to the AI, if not surpassing them, depending on, you know, how you started. If you're starting as a great power, you probably are well past them at that point. So do you really need any further advantages doing debt spending and you know, catching up to him or surpassing him quicker? So we got that authority. And I suppose we'll go after the colonization. I don't know if we'll be able to actually get it passed or even if we'll even work on that. But I suppose we could be working on one of these laws here. So we can't do that one with the police force just yet. We're going to have to wait. We haven't waited the required time. So because of that, there's really not a whole lot to do outside of the National Guard. And that would really only help with the revolution, succession, progression speed, which typically that happens so fast that it's not even necessary reducing the speed because you just need to, you're either going to fight the revolution. Well, it looks like there's a peasant revolt in China. We're going to declare our neutrality. Don't care about that. Oh, we have construction to make use of as well. So let's go ahead and see what we need now. We got the tools down in price to 43%, so we're going to make use of those. And let's go ahead and get more iron mines. So we will actually do a bit of construction here. Let's get iron mines, 2 of those, and then go ahead and get some logging camps as well. I think we're going to focus our logging camps up here. Yeah, we'll focus our logging camps up here. Get a couple of those too. And then the university. We need to get the university too. And we're actually going to go ahead and tick that up to the top. And then we'll just put it underneath that tooling workshop. So yeah, let's go ahead and put it, I guess we'll put it in our future capital. Although that's not going to be switching over to our capital anytime soon. So yeah, we just want to put that right below the tooling workshop since those are, you know, almost finished. So we want to go ahead and change up some of these production methods, guys. So the tooling workshop can actually change over to pig iron tools, make use of even more iron to get even more tools. I think everything we needed was in the roll section. You can see those tooling workshops are not making any money at the moment. So yeah, we want to go over to the butchering tools and then the sawmills. All right, excellent. And I did want to take a look at the different wood prices here and just see if there's like any kind of discrepancy between the two. Yeah, we're currently producing too much hardwood. So we'll want to switch these up, at least in, yeah, maybe take this one out and switch this one over the way it was. Yeah, the way I had just switched those because I was thinking we'd need more hardwood. Not yet. So yeah, we'll leave it like that, and that should help reduce the cost of hardwood, or excuse me, increase the cost of hardwood while reducing the price of our wood. All right, excellent. So we're going to finish up that tooling workshop. The tools here have gone up in price after those adjustments we made, so it's a good thing we got that finished, and now they're back down to a decent price here. Might actually be too cheap. We'll have to see. And now we're going to be working on those iron mines and finishing up this university here as well. We're going to need a few universities. But I want to get the economy sorted out before we focus too much on getting those built. Although really things don't look too bad here. Probably going to go ahead and do... Yeah, we need more glass. Yeah, I think these should solve our iron issues here. Well, maybe not. There. What do you have building? Just the 2. Don't need that there. So yeah, we're going to need some more iron mines. So let's only get 2 more of those. Let's kind of build this out for the future. And I think what we're spending right now is pretty solid, guys. We're going a little bit in the negative, but not too much. So making use of those gold reserves without, you know, rapidly reducing them. Yeah, I think this should be good, what we currently have going. We probably don't need this one here right now. So let's just work on those iron mines. All right, so we got both of those under construction. Let's go and find some other things for us to work on. Iron's still the most expensive. Let's do the luxury furniture. Okay, yeah. Let's go ahead and do the furniture workshops. And we're going to build these. Let's see, where do we want to put these? Let's put one here. Build like 2 of these here. And then textile mills. We're going to want to get these as well, which we already have some built there. So we'll do 2 more here. We got the cotton gin. All right, excellent. Because we actually want that next tech that it unlocks. And then glass. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that as well. So the glass works. And I think we're going to build these on this island over here. And we'll just do one of those, because I think it's just porcelain. Yeah, glass is actually cheap. We could take a look and see if we want to change up any production methods, or if that's even an option for us. We have an event here. A newspaper called the Kyushu Times has printed a bigoted article about the Han people living there. We can suppress the article, or we can let it be released. We don't have a lot of Han people living in our country. So we're just going to ignore it. That'll reduce their standard of living. But what we don't want is to reduce all of our authority. We have 3 journal entries. One of these is probably about the university. We're not going to do the welding one. Yeah, we will do the university one. So we need to get it up to level 2. All right, yeah, we can do that. Easy enough. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. And we'll take that up to the top. And we could go ahead and increase construction a little bit. Yeah, why not? Let's go ahead and increase construction. We'll get this going over here. So we'll get one more. Take that up to the top as well. All right. So, no, not too bad here for Japan at the start as far as like what we're utilizing. And that did put us a bit more in the negative. You know, we don't have access, again, we don't have access to any investment funds here. And yeah, now we're spending 6,000. We got colonization. We can take a look at that and see if we can pass it or not. What the chances are. Though again, it kind of is often just better to let Russia take that. I would like to have this though for the gold mines. But this one probably just better to let the Russians take it. And then attack them for it. So if we can get it passed, I mean, it's a 6% chance. The peasants would be unhappy. So we lose their bonus, but the samurai would be quite pleased. This is for the colonial resettlement. You can also do the exploitation, which would give us more throughput, but does have several penalties to it. The resettlement is migration attraction, which that's always helpful for new colonies. But then it often results in your colonies having a lot more people than you might want sometimes. They both have the same colonial growth generation. Why not do exploitation? Because we haven't done that yet. USA, I think we had the resettlement. Both of these are quite harsh. Colonies are established to exploit the area for their natural resources and cheap labor. Or the resettlements, colonies are established to provide land to settlers from the country's incorporated states, which means those settlers are pushing the native people out of their homeland. But this one's probably a little rougher, which is why you see all these penalties here. But yeah, we did the resettlement last time, so let's do exploitation this time, if we can even get it passed. We'll see. It's not a high success chance right now, 6%, 80% to go to debate, and we do have to pick another tech. So let's go with, I guess we'll do the currency standards because we can get that pretty quick. We could also get the lathe though. that would be helpful. Yeah, both of these would be beneficial. And this one's also researching on its own. This one's really what we want is to get to banking, because we wouldn't be able to enact that law anyways. So I suppose it would be better. This is useless again, as I said before, but yeah, I suppose it would be better to go with the lathe. So that's what we'll get. 11 to 14 months. Since we're now researching at a faster speed. And we did get the higher learning, because we got that university, that next level for the university built. And so we can get a 25% university building throughput, but this would also increase the political strength of academics. Instead, we can just get research for a future tech. I think we're gonna actually do this despite the increased political strength of academics. Because yeah, we could use further throughput. Frankly, we need more universities anyways. So once we finish with these, maybe we'll build a couple more levels up. Worried about cost though, because you know we have to pay for all that. And you see we are already here, pretty far in the negative now. Much further than I want to be anyways. Obviously that's not that bad, but let's just see how the rest of the economy is looking. So again, we're short on the iron still, so we need to get more of that. And looks like the hardwood did end up becoming a problem. Not by much. Yeah, it's not too much of an issue here, but yeah, we'll want to get that fixed. So we'll just do what I had done. This is what I thought needed to be done. This is why I did it. Switching out the one that I'm building in for the hardwood. Yeah, that's why I had done that. And that should be plenty enough, guys. I'll have to fix the issue there. Yeah, now they're down to negative 8%. So now we're going to go ahead and do more iron. Yeah, I think that's what we need here. And got an event here, the ethics of exploitation. The government's attempt to pass the colonial exploitation law has brought the ethics of colonialism to the forefront of public debate. So both of these have like a percentage chance of doing each of their potential options. So we don't know exactly what's going to happen here, other than this one is going to increase the political movement support here for the preserve no colonial affairs, while this one's going to increase their radicalism. So you don't really want either of those happening. So the percentages are different as well. 20% chance that you'll get the 10+% enactment success chance, 40% chance for 20%, and a 40% chance for negative. So here it's a 25% for the negative, a 25% chance for the best option, and a 50% chance for the lowest option. So basically you got a 75% chance of something good happening here, while with this one you only have a 60% chance of something good happening here, but it's the best option. That's the most likely. We're going to go with this one. We concede to some of their points. I'd rather have them have more support here than radicalism. So we'll go with that. And we're at 26.5%, so I don't know what option happened there, because I don't know what we were at beforehand. So seen this event many times as USA, so we won't read it again. But we're gonna want to do this one. We don't want the trade unions getting more powerful. So we're not gonna be able to play much more today, guys. Did I ever do the iron, or did I get distracted? I think I got distracted, so let's go ahead and work on that. Build up the iron mines a bit more. How much do we need? Quite a bit, actually. We also need wood as well. So we'll get that up to level 12. Opposition members put forth demands. So this is 15% enactment success chance. That'll also irritate the samurai, but I'm sure they like us quite a bit. Yeah, they're very loyal. Or we can say compromise as a tool. Yeah, let's not do that. Or as a tool of the week. Yeah, we'll go with this one. That gets us up to 41.4% chance of success here. And then let's go ahead and do some more logging camps, guys. So we'll get one there, and then let's do one here over as well. All right, excellent. So just working on our resources. But I do want to get another university once we get our money sorted out. We might want to do more taxes. Yeah, because we do have that higher authority now. So let's go ahead and do another consumption tax, since we are so broke. And I'm thinking, even though tea would get us a bit more, we don't want to tax the tea. We're going to do the tobacco, because tea is going to be our main luxury drink rather than wine. So we'll do the tobacco. Another syntax here. So we got the lathe. Excellent. That's probably going to be the last thing that we do in today's episode. I mean, we'll pick another tech, and then we'll also take a look at the production methods. Let's do this now so you can see what all we got here. So the textile mills, we'll definitely want to change those over, get the clothes, and this will require more dyes, but we have access to dyes, so not a problem in this campaign. Furniture manufacturers, we'll also want to change these up as well. That will require more tools, but we have excess tools as well. And then the glass works. Well, we want to do this one though. Nah, probably not, because we don't have lead yet. So we'll have to get lead before we do that one. All right, so I'll have to try to remember that before we build anything for glass, unless it's for porcelain or whatever, then we'll want to instead get the lead and then just change up the production method there. The surfaces are getting a little bit expensive here, so we could go ahead and switch up to the market squares. That will make use of more glass. Okay, so what you could do is get the lead and then switch up the production method to get the more glass and then switch up this. Or you can get coal because we don't have access to any coal just yet. We have the resources, but we don't have any coal mines, to instead get the gas streetlights, and then it would result in you getting quite a bit more services here. So that'd be an option as well. So let's go and get a tech selected. So I believe that's the last of the level 1 techs here in the production. Yeah, so the level 2s aren't too bad, 31 months. And the beginning of the game, I think it was 6 to 7 years is what it would have taken for us to get a level 2. So yeah, it's not too bad, guys. I think we might go ahead and get this finished up and go after the banking, since these are all level 1s, so we can get them pretty quick. And that'll probably be the last of the level 1s that we get. Yeah, and then we'll work on the level 2 stuff. And then just get the level 1s will be filled out with the tech spread, which we are increasing our literacy rate, so that'll go a little bit faster here. So we did get to 1841 despite taking a while to actually get started in the gameplay, so not too bad for the first episode when we did have so much to look at. And one thing I never did show when I was in the population I meant to look at is just the new screen here. I guess we'll go into a specific state. So let's go into our capital here, and we'll take a look at like our peasants. 4.89 million peasant pop here, and this is a new screen with a new UI, so it's much easier to access certain kinds of information now, where before you had to like hover over multiple tooltips to figure this stuff out. Like, it was there, but it wasn't easily accessible. So now you have these different tabs here, and you can look at the specific information for this pop. So you're looking at their pop income, where they're getting that income from, what their workforce, dependents. The majority of the peasant income is, of course, from the subsistence output, so from those farms. The total net income, so how they're doing in that regards, and their progress towards their next wealth level, which they're currently at 0% at the moment. They're struggling, but they are higher than they were. I think they started at 8. So yeah, it could be worse. And then most importantly, you can see their consumption. I suppose I could be letting this play, since if we're going to be looking at this, might as well let it play, though that does result in events popping up. That's unfortunate. So neither one of these are good. This is a negative 5% for bureaucracy, also a bunch of radicals. We're just going to have to do this one, guys. So it's going to make it take a lot longer, and we're going to lose some of that success chance that we had. We just don't want to let it play now. Just bad things going to happen here. But yeah, we can take a look at our consumption here for the pop. So you can see like exactly how much they're buying and consuming, and the percentage of their total expenditure for that good. So almost a third, almost 30% here of their expenditure is on grain, as you'd expect for the poorer pops. 13.5% on wood. That's for heating and for crude items. We already know what we're going to be picking next, guys, so we're going to go ahead and get that started with the banking there. We closed the screen. But yeah, that's what they look like. The peasants, if we want to take a look at maybe some aristocrats, see how they're doing. 162,000 here. So you can see this is their current income. They get all theirs from the wages, and the dividends give them a little bit, but the majority is from the wages. Net income's doing pretty good here. and their consumption is going to be quite a bit different. You're at 25% almost for services of their total expenditure. 13% for clothes, only 10.7% for grain, 10.3% for furniture. And you can kind of just scroll through here and see how it all looks. So we were able to get through another year. So we're in 1842 now, and we got the colonial exploitation. All right, excellent. So yeah, this will be helpful as we can now start colonizing over here. So let's go ahead and start doing that. Establish a colony over here, and we can now get that done before the Russians. We can also do this one here. I suppose we can start doing that. Why not? So yeah, we'll start colonizing both of those regions. And I wasn't intending to do so because sometimes it can be difficult to get that passed. I had difficulty in my last Japan campaign. I couldn't get it passed. I kept having problems with it. So I wasn't able to colonize these in my playthrough. Instead, I had to take it from the Russians. Yeah, I suppose this works out, especially if we can get control of all this because of all that gold once it pops up. Which I recall this happening a little bit sooner when I played Japan last time, the gold being discovered. So unfortunately, it's taken a little bit longer, which is pretty important for the Japanese and their money because they don't, we can't get very much of our taxes due to the very low taxation capacity, all those issues that we have with that. So yeah, pretty important that we get that gold, and so it's unfortunate that it's been taking a while for it to for us to be able to discover it. But yeah, doing pretty good over here, guys. We're getting a good number of radicals, but still have more loyalists than radicals. 307,000 loyalists, 151,000 radicals. With that law passed, the only thing we really want to do now is to go to the dedicated police force. That's the last thing we really want to do while still having the samurai in place. And our legitimacy is actually at 81 now. The shogun has increased the clout, the shogunate. So that's unfortunate. Because we actually want to reduce their power. And so we'd have to get them out of government before we can start suppressing them. You can see that our suppression of the intelligentsia has been successful. I think we're going to want to bolster the industrialists once we finish with our laws here. Because yeah, we want to make sure that we get the best enactment time that we can. So we won't start bolstering them yet. But eventually we will want to work on that. And that'll also help reduce the clout of the shogun. So yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy this first episode. If you did, make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe to our channel, hit that notification bell, and leave a comment. If you're looking for anything to watch while you wait for the next video, then check out the front page of our channel. We got 3,000 something videos all sorted by genre. Do play a wide variety of different types of games, but I especially play these Paradox strategy games, grand strategy games. So we had one Victoria 3 campaign on the channel so far. Play a lot of Hearts of Iron 4. I don't know how many campaigns, 40, something like that. It's a lot of Hoi 4 campaigns. A little bit of CK3. We've done, I think, 4 CK3 campaigns, 5 if you count the PlayStation 5 series that we did. And we just had a non-Paradox game, Knights of Honor 2 Sovereign. Now, outside of the blue screen crashes, which were a serious problem that I was having with the game, but that was mostly with one of the recent patches that they had just put out. But other than those issues, that was a pretty fun game and a fun series. So maybe check that out. Or check out one of the series I do with Jinx, where we typically play on console, and those are a little bit more lighter, a little bit lighter tone. A lot of people enjoy the change of pace. So if you're looking for any links, check out the description of any of our videos. Found links to our PayPal, Patreon, and Teespring store if you'd like to help support the channel. You also find a link to all of our social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff if you'd like to follow us on those. And you'll find a link to our Discord if you'd like to join our community. So do hope to see you guys on the next episode, which will be out on Thursday. And thanks for watching.